Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic. 7 years with cover-to-cover books. We're really happy about that. And I was in a position in, I guess it was end of 2006, where the venue I had, which had served us pretty well, changed hands. And they were not happy about some of the content of some of the poems that were read toward the end of 2006. And as soon as I heard that, as soon as I even got an inkling that we might not have the full support of the new owners of the place, I knew I had to take it somewhere. And I somehow managed to have the conversation with Mel and have a place for it to land so that we didn't have to miss a month. So we really have been doing, even when there was a fire, we've been doing every second Thursday since November 2004. So what we're going to do is, other than celebrate 7 years with Cover to Cover, is we're going to spend all of 2014 celebrating 10 years of open mic poetry in Vancouver. We're pretty happy about still being around after all that time. So, yeah. So thank you to Mel for staying open late. Thank you to everybody who brought food for the potluck. And as I mentioned earlier, the potluck food and drink will be available for the entire evening. We won't be making coffee again until our break. So hope everyone who wanted their coffee got some. I'm going to hand it over for just a second to my partner, Tony Partington.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And I'm going to try not to weep openly that we don't have the books. And just to really apologize to all of you. I know that everybody was looking forward to our book launch tonight. So many of the contributors are here. And it was just a great disappointment. But weather does what Mother Earth does what Mother Earth wants to do. And the bad weather in the East and Midwest have left our books sitting in a UPS warehouse in Pennsylvania.
Or somewhere between Pennsylvania and here.
Yeah. So
we think they've left Pennsylvania, but haven't quite made it this far
I
yet.
hope they've left Pennsylvania because we're now scheduled to, they're scheduled to come here.
I understand they're stuck in Ohio.
They're Ohio. Well, I guess if you're going to be stuck somewhere, right?
I don't know. Maybe people there.
Oh.
I'm not going to wait there.
They have assured me that they'll be here by the end of the day on Monday. And the end of the day, according to UPS, could be any time up until midnight, I understand. So if we get them in our hot little hands on Monday, I will be so thrilled. And it's really, you know, for us, it's an honor to work with the local poets, to work with our friends across the river, and all of the various readers, featured readers who've been here over the years, to be able to take the poetry and you know, all of those submissions and people who work so hard on putting things together and to put them into an anthology, and it really is an honor. And I want you all to know that from the bottom of my heart, that it's an honor to work with each of you on your beautiful poetry. And so we are very proud of the Volume 2, and we will be holding the book launch at February's open mic reading. This will be February the 13th. So we'll not only be able to celebrate Valentine's Day, I guess, but with all of you, but to present that beautiful book. Between now and then, we plan to be here on Saturday the 18th, between 2 and 4 in the afternoon for those of you who would like to come by and pick up your complimentary copy. Those are the contributors. Each get a complimentary copy, and there'll also be books for sale that same afternoon. So we'll be here Saturday the 18th, 2 to 4 p.m. So if you are around, otherwise we will try to set up one other time at least between now and February 13th, and we'll put that out on Facebook and also on the Printed Matter website and on the emails that are sent out. So if you can't make the 18th, we'll try to do another date before the 13th. And those who can't make either of those, your book will be waiting for you on February 13th. So, having said that, and I didn't weep openly fall to the ground.
pretty well.
You know, but
What'd you say?
We tried to do our weeping at home.
at home.
So we can keep it together tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, really, I mean, you all have been in this with us since last spring when we called for submissions, and we've been working all this time and putting it together. So it was a huge disappointment for us. But to see all of you tonight and to be able to just let you know that it's coming out of that warehouse. We'll have it soon in our hot little hands, and we can't wait to share it with you. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And if you like the design of Ghost Town Volume 1 or Ghost Town Volume 2, once you have a chance to see Ghost Town Volume 2, the book design was Tony. The inside, you know, making it look right, making it look the way we want it to look, is all her. So I want to make sure that she gets credit for all that hard work that she did on that. So a lot of events, you know, coming up, some of which I've involved in, some of which I'm not, but just always in this part of the world, great poetry events happening. We have our friend Rick Rana from Astoria just arrived. Welcome, Rick. It's nice to see you again. So one of those events that's coming up is on January 18th in the evening. I'll be hosting my friend, the Portland writer Doug Spangle, just had a book of selected poems come out. Let me see if I can get the name of the publisher here. I know I have it here somewhere. Maybe not. Anyway, we're going to launch the book for him on this side of the river. He's been doing a bunch of readings in Portland, so we're going to launch it here at Angst Gallery downtown. And there's a great show there that they do every year, an annual show called Male Form, to kind of balance the scale since there's so much female form in art galleries everywhere. Leah does this every year, and I have a few pieces there, so I hope you'll stop by. But I'm hoping that you'll stop by to see Doug read from his new book, which has got a pretty great title. It's called White Concrete Day. And so I thought that for tonight I would read one of Doug Spangle's poems to get you warmed up for that and to get things going here. This poem is called Old Men's Voices. Perhaps I am the only one, but I hear old men's voices that keep me awake at night. The spine's shredded, a joke clenched in the soil's spastic dexedrine jaw. I hear old men's voices. They keep me awake at night, vinegary, hoarse, demanding, yet too far to follow. I cannot follow. Perhaps I am the only one to hear them rustling outside in the ice. Carry me away past the limits of certainty to cast a glance with the pineal eye. There is no out. Beyond the back door, every star is a cold little scream. Every tree an accusing stare. The night is crowded with absurdities. Although they are long dead elsewhere, there are old men's voices in my ear. Douglas Spangler. So we've got a long list, so we'll just jump right in there, and we're going to start tonight with our official videographer, Tiffany Burbishram.
Good evening. I have a few poems. So the first one's called November Rain Freezes My Heart. The calendar turns to the 11th month. The trees now bare as October has wrought their leaves. The sunflowers of September are dead and brown as their remains lay on the frozen ground. November rain pours and hits the frosted pavement, too cold to form mud puddles. We huddle inside to protect our bodies from chills as the wind that whistles through barren trees. My heart is not cut out for the cold of November. It needs nourishment from the heat of August. I walk forward, my heart exposed as the frigid rains forms icicles. I stand freezing, shivering in the showers of the cold November rain. Thank you. And this next one was based on a conversation I had with my friend Karen, and so she wrote a poem about it. So it's called Expectations of Heaven. My expectations of heaven are low these days, she said. I take a bunch of Brussels sprouts, steam them, saute them in butter and garlic, eat them on a plate, heavenly. That's it, I said. That's it, she said. Oh, heaven isn't what it used to be. No more angels dancing overhead on cloudy blue frescoes. The golden harps are rusting away. The boys' choir has grown armpit hair. I see no saints. They've packed up like snowbirds in winter on the polyester train to Florida. It's cold and lonely place, this heaven. So thanks, God, for the little things, like Brussels sprouts on a plate, dressed golden in garlic and butter. That's by Karen Margaret. This next one's called Rugby Elegant Violence. A framed memory of a little girl sits beside her bed. She stands on the sidelines while her long blonde pigtails fly in the breeze. Men chant and huddle close to reveal the white ball. In a quick flash, the ball is launched to the left as they run. Her dad has the ball and he's ready to score. She cheers and jumps as he stumbles into the end zone. He ends up under a pile of warriors. No armor, just striped shirts, boots, and shorts. She stands on the sideline. A red and white shirt adorns her arms. This t-shirt was a gift from her dad when she was 13. The front simply states, Rugby Elegant Violence. No pads, no helmets to protect against tackles and falls. 30 warriors converge on one single ball. The mud flies as boots strike the damp ground at Delta Park. A little girl in pigtails grows to a woman, memories tucked in the far corner of her mind. Life is elegant violence. So my last one is Expectations of Heaven, Part 2. So this is my response to her poem. Like I said, my expectations of heaven are low these days. I open a can of black olives while I prepare my children dinner. Sometimes I place them on my fingers like I did as a child. They have to be the big ones because the little ones only fit on my pinkies. This is my treat prior to the heavenly plate of garlic caramelized buttered Brussels sprouts. Heaven isn't what it used to be. No beautiful white gowns and halos against bronze skin. Just cans wrapped in paper, bags full of small green cabbage mixed with garlic cloves. I can buy my heaven here to have on earth, $1.25 for a can of olives, $2.99 for a pound of Brussels sprouts. Thank you.
So I called her official videographer because for many months now, she's just been showing up with the camera and then taking video of the readings and posting it on YouTube. So if you're new to this or just want to see some of the previous readings maybe that you've missed, and she's also been kind of following me around.
Stalker.
So if you want,
She's a stalker.
one of my readings and you want to see those, they're all up there too, and it's great because I don't. I can't be there and here at the same time, so it's wonderful. Next we're going to hear from Bruce Hall. Come on up, Bruce.
Thank you. I just have one here tonight. It's called Where Dad's Going. The screen door crashes. Mom screams for Dad. My brothers and I are shooting cans with slingshots. 5 dented victims lie in the ditch. Dad, puffing, puffing. Sweat pours down his bald head. Rings form on his shirt. Thunder rolls off the elk horns. Lightning dances on the ridges. Dad's feet bypass the back steps. Screen door crashes. Ozone is thick, thicker, thicker than molasses. Thunder, loud, faster, booming, roaring. The screen door crashes. Dad flies across the steps, slams the car door, guns the engines. Tires squeal, blue smoke chases him down the street. Mom's words finally escape the back porch. Damn it, Ed, you're a mill worker. You pull green chain. Our eyes ache from staring. Lightning hits the valley floor. Trees shake. Power flicks off. Mom tugs at the screen door, tests the hinges. She sits, second step from the bottom. Face in hands. We race across the yard, hurdling bushes and bikes, scared and excited, all talking at once. Fire, she blurts out. Fire on the North Fork of the John Day. She herds us to the back of the house, pointing. 3 columns of smoke, the biggest one. That's where Dad's going. A few raindrops fall. One hits my head, one to the shirt, one on the nose, then a downpour. We run for the house.
Thanks, Bruce. And Bruce demonstrated what I would call open mic etiquette 101, which is that he brought a friend. Bring friends to arenas with you. It's cool. Or invited, I don't know. You know. Oh, so next, a reader is very dear to my heart, Angela Luna.
Alright, so I have two tonight. The first one is called Golem. The marble colossus advances towards the brick wall that is your mind. The formation of rubble, metal, and a human soul fits together somehow perfectly within the cold body that moves with the life of a god. The cracks between the stone do not reveal the true strength of the mighty warrior. Its fist, with a debilitating blow, smashes its way into your mind brick by brick. All humans strive to gain knowledge. This monster's purpose is to take it. Bow down to the golem as it stands before the depths of your soul, your love, your passion. All life is stripped away in his presence, leaving a shivering, soulless form in its place. This man without a face, built out of clay, triumphant no matter how hard you fight back. The will of a man versus the strength of a giant, which will prevail? The second one is called Time the Destroyer. Time is the boundary that stops sentient beings from making decisions, always waiting for something to happen or someone else to do something. Waiting is the destroyer of emotions, a parasite that latches on to the nearest source of love or forgiveness. Time mends all wounds, another bold-faced lie. Once you learn to accept that time is a myth, an immoral concept that can be controlled, existence is a tool to be used like a pencil. Use it to write, use it to erase. Create your own timeline. Mend your own wounds.
Yeah, you might have noticed Angela's shirt. One of the things we're working on is a superhero comic book sci-fi themed reading that's probably going to happen at the Kiggins Theater. That's what we're shooting for. So if any of you have written stuff like that or know people that have, send them my way. I'm having a meeting about it tomorrow, so I think it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of the details at this point. Okay, so next we are going to hear from the first in our cavalcade of MCs, Steve Williams of the Figures of Speech reading at In Other Words in Portland. Always happy to have him here, although I guess I should be putting this up. Yeah, please welcome Steve Williams.
Good job. We're so festive here. It's like a candy cane. Okay, so we're all going to pretend we have the book.
Yeah. Woo-woo!
So open the book, table of contents, pick a number between 101 and 111.
12.
You all got your number? Okay, don't tell. Turn the page, find that page. This is the poem. I have no idea what page is on. A reuniting. It is the knife edge of Halloween, and you will leave tomorrow. The chill of this coast invades your joints like mold, fills your lungs with moss. Your suitcase sways on the porch swing. Even the house seems to list, as if it were built of driftwood instead of deadwood. All night I hold you like dead leaves in my fists until the moon gives up on the last breath of yesterday held in my lungs. I help you down to the bay. The day is unseasonably clear, almost tropical. You perch on a log, unclench, in the heat. The low tide has left a plain of wet sand and derelict trees. I begin to build something in the hope of filling myself. First, a Kon-Tiki deck of driftwood, then circular walls piled higher that suddenly tumble down in a hollow rumble. I build again, learn the tolerance of wood for staying in place, finish an igloo of ribs and fingers as the horizon harvests a pumpkin sun. I turn and you have crawled up a tangle of branches and trunks, chasing the light upward from a darkened shore, your arms sunning out as if you want this brittle wood to find buds and leaves. Soon my dome drifts out on the evening tide. It keeps itself intact as it twists. The sun-burned Pacific promises to set it on fire. I feel the breaking waves at the bay's mouth in my legs, my ribs, my teeth, as they splinter this house I cannot live in.
And the co-host of that reading, yet in other words, is the award-winning author of the chapbook that's on the counter there. It's been selling like hotcakes here at Cover to Cover and elsewhere. M.
Thanks so much. I don't have the poem that's in the book. I couldn't find it. Mine wasn't there on the page.
The wrong page number.
At the wrong page. So I'm going to read something from To That Mythic Country Called Closure. This is my book on widowhood, and I don't think I've ever read this one before in public because it has a word in it that I'm not sure how to pronounce. I've only seen it written, I've never heard it pronounced. It's from the Kung people, the tribe in Africa, and it is a reference to their healing dance. It's a dance done, they usually take hallucinogenics when they, before they perform this dance, and it's done for healing and to eliminate evil spirits. And it's done during the nighttime and to the dawn. So that you'll hear a strange word in here, and that's what that's in reference to. So this is, for those of you who don't know, I was widowed in 2001. I was an agoraphobic at the time, and so my husband was my safe person. And when your safe person dies, you're left as an agoraphobic, unable to do much of anything. And so I had a nervous breakdown, basically, and I was put in an institution. And so this poem is about that experience. And it's called Shoes Brought Me to This Place. I thought people shuffled quietly in places like this. No, they march. At 2 a.m., sometimes nude, bare feet can make good boots. Though what you've heard about the screaming is true. I slipped through the room in black felt clogs, many sizes too large, and numb chi until dawn. They force me to breakfast with the others, tell me to eat eggs if I wish to be whole. Scrambled is good for me. Scrambled was the van that carried me here. My fork shakes like the shikire I bought from a Nigerian man who whistled through his hairlip and taught me how to dance. The woman who eats eggs draws balloons on my breakfast tray. The reason you can't fly is you're too attached to artifacts, she says. I tell her, it's the pull of shoes. She says, we're all addicted to something. I sketch sandals on her bare feet. She turns into someone else's conclusions, rises like a hallelujah, flees for the open window. The sweaty man across the table says, There are no balloons. His eyebrows crawling up his forehead like caterpillars to cocoon in his hairline. He has some authority here. He wants my shoes. I tell him they are not mine to give. He kneels at my feet to remove them. I bite the sunburn on the back of his neck. I eat, sleep, bathe in shoes. When the shrieking starts late at night, I hide inside them, soft and safe. They are risk, ritual, reward. He is dead, the therapist tells me. No, not if his shoes still dance. Thanks.
Thank you. And Emma's going to be one of our features later this year, so. Do you remember which month it is?
April,
No.
Poetry Month.
National Poetry Month, so you can hear some more then. And maybe in the months in between as well. Okay, next we're going to hear from one of our old friends, April Bullard.
I'm with Steve. Find the right page in the book. My poem is entitled, The Guardian of Forgotten Souls. I am one of the guardians of forgotten souls, a watchdog of death that tallies and tolls. Born from the energy of discarded lives, bound to proclaim their unhallowed demise until they are found and in sacred ground lie, or their last drop of kindred bloodline dies. Discharged to patrol a crumbling fortress, once a gleaming, seemingly charitable hostess, built to so cleanly segregate and contain, with iron-barred windows, doors locked, and gates chained, those whose feeble frames and skewed brains were more than their families could bear or sustain, until they succumbed to lingering ills, or their addled minds failed from anguish and pills. Those deformed or simply unable to reason, or confounded from the march of seasons, were housed in sterile, pale walls and held captive, not to disrupt the lives of those able and active. Their unclaimed corpses were efficiently burned, remnant ashes collected and sealed in urns, forms properly filled out and papers filed, each canister numbered and neatly stockpiled in a shelf-lined room beneath the foundation, locked to maintain their death as salvation. Many years passed, and the metal jars mounted. The basement room, full, over 3,000 counted, disregarded, dismissed, memories lost in the gloom. That burial chamber, now a dungeonous tomb, with emotional strength, not corporeal form. I must make manifest that blasphemous dorm. All the cast aside, unmourned souls resonate, and my ghostly spiritual powers grow great. With the ferocious fury of the unjustly damned, fulfilling my duty, a door will be slammed. I make the pounding and pleading of souls sealed in tin, echo in each footfall of those passing within. I whisper through windowsills, leave frost on the panes, shed tears down the walls, the paint blisters and stains. I grow in your shadow, monstrous shapes dance and bend, then I breathe down your neck, every hair stands on end. My frigid finger that traces your spine beckons you to discover those souls confined. I am one of the guardians of forgotten souls, a watchdog of death that tallies and tolls. Born from the energy of discarded lives, bound to proclaim their unhallowed demise until they are found and in sacred ground lie, or their last drop of kindred bloodline dies.
We have one person who is a contributor to Ghost Town Poetry Volume 2 who did not get our message that that the books would not be available tonight, and he drove here from his new home in Astoria. So, and he's driving back there tonight. So I've invited him to come up during the first half so that he might actually have a chance of making it home alive. And someone who we've always enjoyed, who's been a featured reader here, and we miss him terribly. Wish he was still around on a more regular basis. Rick Vrana, come on up. Rick.
Thanks, that was real generous of you. I figured I would be the last one to hear tonight. And, depending on how long the food lasts, I still might be, Okay, some reasons why. Because the light was yellow, becoming red. All traffic was pushing at that speed. Swiftly a car came up from behind. No one could react that fast. The radio played too loudly. The other driver was using a cell phone. Summer rain slickened oily streets. Visibility near zero. 4 lanes converged into one. Emergency vehicle on the shoulder. Blinking yellow, becoming red. Traffic pushing, radio, cell phone. Someone's time was simply up. Because born under a bad sign, beaten as a child, lost a sibling or a mother or a father, never positively reinforced, bad divorce and a broken family, bare cupboards and a bad neighborhood, made fun of in school, bullies behind the gym, early introductions to drugs, social sexual rejection, no gun control, TV violence, automatic weapons fire erupts in the cafeteria. Because there is no Santa Claus, no free lunch, no such thing as an ugly woman. Wishing doesn't make it so. Nobody ever earned $1 million. Rome wasn't built in a day. Freedom isn't free. God made you in its image. Time marches ever on. You've come a long way, baby. Ain't no mountain high enough. I said so, that's why. The sun, the moon, the stars, and your heart. Because the business cycle has not been repealed. Permanent crisis of overproduction. Union entropy and subversion of the NLRB, massive accumulation of wealth in the hands of a few, falling profit margins, tax burden shifting to the poor, Republican reactions against the Commonwealth, hiring freezes due to budget shortfalls, academics in service to the corporations, imperative of empires, spheres of influence, permanent war on terror is fascism. The proof eludes the greatest minds of the age. We live today in our country with the resignation of a conquered people. Some reasons why. Now for something a little bit sweeter, although apocalyptic. On the last day of the world. On the last day of the world, I will go into work late. Probably stop for coffee and a roll. Take a long time reading the paper. The early edition will be the late edition. There may be hail or winds or floods, but the weatherman will have had it wrong. The purple sky will alarm no one unused to the sunrise. On the last day of the world, the radio will play only oldies. The great leader will cut in with a message, a plan to avert our imminent demise. No one will be listening. It will be too late now to learn a new language, to draw on your retirement, to be the change you want to be in the world. On that last day, time evaporates. History resolves, but we don't find out how. Oceans and atmospheres are about to be irrelevant. Dreams fuse with reality. Sirens wail. Some people pray to a god. Some people try to settle a score. Some people look for random love. Some people will plant a tree. I will write a poem. In it, I will tell you that no matter what, I will find you if you are alone. We will laugh and we will dance, and I will entertain you once again. We will talk about unseen things, about the way it happened, our lives, unplanned but finally known. We will talk about the role of prophecy. We will talk about the mysteries of faith, a distraction of a salvation. We will talk of chance and certainty, of what might be and what has to be. On the last day of the world, I will say, all meaning has evaporated, except that I still love you, and the pain will be very shortly over.
Thank you, Rick. I've missed you, Rick. We go home and read your book again, and it's just really nice to hear you. Come back often. I know it's a drive, but we'll send a car for you next time. You know, when we're
We'll send the poetry limo.
yeah, we'll send the poetry limo.
We got lots of those.
I'm going to read, before our next open mic, before our next open mic reader, I'm going to read something I haven't read in a while. As I was thinking about this, as we're into January now, and shortly it will be 4 years since I've heard Patricia Smith read at Portland State University. I was there, Steve and Constance were there. There were quite a few people there that night. It was a really extraordinary night. It was a magical night. If you're not familiar with Patricia's writing, it's amazing, and she is quite a performer, and you can see her on YouTube, I guess. You just put in Patricia Smith and
Patricia Smith.
thousands. It's amazing. That night was a night that just changed how I thought about listening to other readers and the impact of words when you really let them sink into you, when you're connected in some way, sitting in the audience listening to someone that's so powerful. And what do you do with that? Where is that? Where does that go inside of you? So after that night, there are some lines in here by Patricia from some of her books, and I'm not going to tell you those in advance because I don't want to slow down the process, but this was what I wrote after hearing her that night. A letter to her. Dear Patricia, I was there that bitter February night with 80 others, anticipating. I sat shamelessly in the front row, waiting to feel your breath on me. You started by reading Building Nicole's Mama, and as hard as I tried to grip my chair, I couldn't hold on. That was me floating near the ceiling, tethered to your words. I was up there with Lakanisha and Tico. I shouted, me, 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 along with the chorus. Waved my hands wildly so you'd choose me because I knew death too. I know death like a white girl. 3 uncles with heart attacks, an aunt with cancer, mom and her stroke. I don't have to worry about a drive-by or a crazy raccoon 39 minutes past needle time. When I was Nicole's age, I watched boys die on TV while Dad ate popcorn and Dan Rather slapped mosquitoes from his forehead. Years later, I walked the wall until I found Philip's name and covered it with my hand. I pretended he'd come back if I made his name invisible. It was all I could do. There you were, Patricia, naming it all with glee. I could feel heat inside tragedies and your steady hands adding just enough coal to feed the embers. You'll never let the fire die. You don't waste souls for those uncomfortable with the truth. I can see the irony in my guilt as your flag waves for courage, but it's not the American flag. It's the blood-red flag of resilience. Your poems have questions under syllables, the ones that ask, how? How can a girl survive such sour disapproval? How is it possible to stand tall after poisoned words? I have my own questions written in invisible ink. When you said, women begin like weather, I thundered. Most of my life it's been raining, and all my words grew slippery. Today I see prisms on blacktop and feces in gutters. This needs an explanation. What do I know of the streets? Boys working corners, calling out, "Icicles here! Get your gumdrops now!" Money changes hands quick, hidden. Who offers a home-cooked meal, a tablecloth, a glass of milk? Houses with empty cupboards. Getting by, you said. Patricia, how do you keep standing? Does your back strain against these wheels of turmoil? You are but one voice that ripples water and bursts into the sky. Lean on me. I'm not mighty and sometimes scared, but I'll infuse endurance into your lungs so that you can breathe in the lost ones. You are sturdy, brilliant, kind. You have room left in your heart where the story begins, and soon you will tell that stranger beside you to listen. Turn the pages faster, let your words ascend, then plummet until they slap my face. Leave the outline of your tender palm on my cheek. Tonight, everyone is white, and you remind us without reminding us of struggles we can never know. How many of us feel the guilt? Who is brave enough to apologize without patronizing you? I know the words, but can't speak. You've heard it all before, and you tell us in a stern voice, you, angry, jubilant, weeping poets, we are all saviors, reluctant hosanna in the limelight. The politics of smooth and unpuckered, the sounds of a man reciting what he will never know. What separated the living of this from the dying of it? It is all that no color, that hugest of sound, the din. Still, Patricia, you take us there. You jab a hot poker in our ears. We bend our heads so that the veins in our necks stand soldier stiff. We might slice them open if the lights dim. Now you speak of coffins, and I can hear the lids close. Your lips are moving, but it's silent, and a million pins drop. We are beyond uncomfortable, so you let us take another breath. This is the moment you will break the backs of our apathy. I'm gripping the ceiling tiles, Patricia, my body going higher and higher, a kite on thin string. At the moment you catch my eyes, the wind yanks hard and the string snaps. I reach for you, and your words grab hold of my wrists. Let it fold your whole self double, you say. You're the only souvenir they've got, you say. I am not above the truth or below the lies, Patricia. I am inside the crevice, at the spine of your wisdom.